vision never seemed so clear. It's a new day, ain't no need to lie. You know we've been moving at the speed of light. Young, wild, and free when we lead a lot. We got the key, ain't no need to fly. We gon' come together just to celebrate. Jumpstart the future, we won't hesitate. This is what you've been waiting for. You better get ready, better get ready.
Hi guys, my name is Jack Morales, or Jack Lorf. I am the competitive head for VALORANT at Carleton. I'm also the captain of the varsity team, and I coach our FE team.
Hi everyone, my name's Kraif. I'm the head coach of Global Esports Phoenix, and I'm an Australian living in New York. I originally started as a chief operating officer for a team called Epic Breed Esports, which was a Filipino organization meets EU, EMEA region, and they had brought me on as their chief operating officer just to do, day-to-day activities and really manage stuff in, and with that I also became the VALORANT manager and sat in on a few scrims, sort of assistant coaching in a way on the team, with the team's head coach, of course. So that was about 2 years ago. So coming full circle sort of thing, and now being where I am today, it's a little shocking to myself.
So my history in collegiate esports started with Overwatch, and way back in the day we were kind of just more of a for fun team starting out, and then it developed into a more serious thing as collegiate esports itself developed. So we went to tournaments for that, and that was a great introduction to collegiate esports. And then as soon as VALORANT came out, I knew I wanted to play it. It just looked fun. So I started up the collegiate VALORANT scene at Carleton. I made the first team. So just to see the program develop from when I started, a small community, a couple hundred people, to now in our Carleton esports community, we have over 2,000. It's been a pretty wild journey, and I'm coming into the end of my journey personally, but it's going to be a great final year, especially with our FE team qualifying for this event.
The easiest definition of a VALORANT coach, I'd like to say, it is someone who provides a team of the 5 players in VALORANT enough guidance to be able to flourish in a competitive scene.
I kind of let them have free-flowing thoughts on what they want to do, and so nobody's uncomfortable. They can play whatever agents they want, make the plays that they want.
VALORANT is a game where you don't have to do anything that's textbook. Sometimes you have to do stuff in a unique way. Sometimes you have to do stuff in a way that counters the normal, counters the textbook.
A coach should be someone that can be supportive of your team and also supportive of you as an individual.
A third outside opinion that kind of can bring insight into kind of what plays you're making, the decisions you're making.
Point out things that maybe you don't have to necessarily agree with them, but it's good to see
someone that understands the game really well and is able to provide criticism in an effective way, not in a rude way, but in a way that they want you to get better as a player.
I think my job is just to try to enhance that and make sure the way they want to play is as efficient as it can be. And yeah.
I think a VALORANT coach is somebody who runs and leads practices and kind of provides structure for a team. I've worked with a lot of different coaches in the past, and I've kind of defined the sort of separation between a coach and an analyst in my brain. I find analysts, they kind of watch back your VODs or your games and stuff like that, and will kind of just tell you what you did wrong or this is what you can improve. But a coach kind of is the proactive measure that a team kind of needs, in terms of creating structure, creating protocols. And I think the structure of practice in and of itself is really important too. And a coach is really integral to creating a good structure and a good environment for the team. Did you know that Xbox Game Pass now has PC games? With the new Xbox app for Windows PC, it's now easier than ever to discover your new favorite game. Browse the library, view recommendations, or filter by genre with hundreds of high-quality games to choose from. was born in Ottawa, Canada, born and raised here. I lived for a few years actually in Quebec, and so I speak English and French. Growing up, I have two older sisters. One of them is 2 years older than me, and the other one's like 9 years older than me. So I was definitely always kind of like the baby of the house, sort of like a little spoiled, I guess one could say. One of the first games I got into was Roblox. I was really into Roblox growing up, but the real gateway, I guess, into my gaming career was it was through Roblox, but it was through an ad on the website. It was an ad for League of Legends, and I'm like, oh, this looks cool. This looks interesting. I'll give it a shot, I guess. Yeah, so I played League for a couple years, kind of on and off. And then I got my own laptop somewhere in middle school or high school, and I really started getting into the game again. And I would start watching streamers and like YouTube videos and stuff on like how to get better. I was never very good. I think I only got to like silver or something. But yeah, and so I feel like the transition into Valorant was kind of natural in a sense, because pandemic hit and kind of had nothing to do, and then a new Riot Games game drops, Valorant, and I'm like, oh, this looks really great. This looks like a fun game. Also, growing up, my mom did not want me playing. Like, she knew I played games, and she wasn't like not supportive, but she didn't really get it. She didn't really care to get it, but she definitely did not want me playing any games with guns or anything. But you know, Valorant comes around, it's 2020, I'm an adult, so I'm like, okay, yay, I can play a first-person shooter for the first time. And I was like high-key like geeked about it. I was so excited because I'm like, okay, the game is new, people are gonna be bad and I'm gonna be bad, so I can actually like learn and grow with other people instead of like trying to play a game and like being like just so much worse than my friends and then just giving up. And then in that first episode I got gold and then just went up from there, I guess. Yeah, so at the time I was just kind of playing Valorant casually. It wasn't for a little over a year after the game came out. I was streaming pretty regularly on Twitch and stuff like that. I had a community of friends and like a Discord server. And I remember somebody mentioned to me that there was like a thing called Game Changers, a Game Changer circuit where women and non-binary people can play and compete. And I was like, okay, and that piqued my interest. So I looked into it a little bit and I was like, how do people find teams for this? How do people like kind of do this whole thing? So I was informed that the best way to look was through Twitter, and I think that's the biggest place or the most central place for the Valorant community. So I posted an LFT on Twitter and I was like, hey, looking for a team. I've never been on a team before, don't really know what I'm doing. I played Duelist. I think I actually only played like Reyna and Omen at the time. Like I did not have a good agent pool at all. But someone reached out to me and she was like, hey, do you want to play on my team? We're looking to play like Game Changers and other like Game Changer related tournaments like Sakura Cup and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, it sounds fun. But kind of going into Game Changers, I was very noob. I wasn't very good at all, but I was kind of just there for the learning experience. I started to slowly realize that I could maybe start becoming like actually decent at this game, and that kind of like there was like a switch in my brain that turned on. I kind of went into like grind mode and I started playing a lot. I was aim training, VOD reviewing, watching so many different streamers play and everything, trying to like absorb as much knowledge as possible. And slowly but surely, with some of the same people from that first team, we started to do decent in some Game Changers events. We came top 16, I think, out of 32 or something like that. From that tournament, I was rated the 5th best player in terms of ACS out of like the, I think, 200 people who like played in the event. After that, I was like, my ego is through the roof. So I really was like going into high gear, trying to rank up, because I was still plat after God knows how long, and I was like, I really need to get my rank up, because I knew that I was improving, and playing in an organized team environment made my skill as a player just dramatically increase. So with my experience playing soccer, I played competitive soccer for just under 10 years, I think like around 8 years. I think that was very integral to my ability to work in a team environment.
Played like volleyball and badminton competitively, so I understand like the sportsmanship that she probably knows too, and just like the team play.
Something I was really kind of known for was being a playmaker. I think I would consistently lead the season with the highest assists, and I think it's funny now because I don't really play support agents as much, but I think my ability to kind of my ability to work in a team environment is very crucial to how I kind of navigate being on a team in terms of Valorant and competitive games. I think it's very apparent to me when I talk to other people who don't have that experience that my experience kind of does give me an upper hand or an advantage in that way.
So it's good to have a person like that as our IGL who knows how to direct a team and like how to talk to a team.
Probably like you have like certain like skills that are like transferable from like an actual like sport to esports. Also just like competitive nature in general.
If you're even just a non-sports player, it's that drive that inspires you to be competitive as well. I think definitely her soccer has driven her to be an amazing player in the esports world. She oversees everything at the end of the day because she's kind of the type of person, obviously she's a duelist, so she always dies first, or she always dies very, very quick. So she's always watching us play at the end of the day throughout those rounds, a lot more than she's probably playing the game herself. So she's definitely like, kind of, you could say like she's calming while she's dead, but she's always making those useful calls that maybe we're leaving out when we're playing.
I think scrims have been going good. We've been doing a lot of practice, like with the team offline, as well as doing VOD review and stuff like that.
We are just trying to generally improve, get rid of pretty much any mistakes that we're making that could cause us to be losing rounds that really we shouldn't.
I find that after kind of winning this last tournament, our synergy as a team has gotten a lot better, and we kind of just got into this good groove of kind of knowing like our own game and knowing our own pace.
So areas I think we need to focus on is kind of our defense as a whole. The attack side is very good when we get to kind of dictate where we want to fight, what we want to take.
For Icebox, we've been cleaning it up a bit, especially on our attack.
Like A site, we kind of have to work on making sure we know what we're doing so that we don't like waste like a piece of util that could really like define the round.
So we are running double smokes. So instead of a Sage, we have a Harbor now. So our new comp is regular Harbor, Sova, and Jet. And for Split, we've also been cleaning that up as well.
We saw that there was a lot of issues in our attack and our defense especially.
An example of us working on our defense would be pointing to the finals of the qualifier actually. So in our split match against Houston, at some points in time, we ended up playing retake on both sites at the start of the round. Maybe it was nerves. We're a little bit afraid maybe to hold our space. But so that's one thing we're going to be working on, being confident and at least holding the spots that the game gives us at the beginning of the round. So at the beginning of a round in Valorant, the game dictates kind of where the defenders start and where the attackers start. So what we want to do as a team is to keep that area that is given to us at the beginning of the round and to hold it as best we can until we are pushed off by the enemy, as opposed to leaving it without being pressured. So at the end of the day, our team is made up of 5 very individually skilled players. And I think the main thing as to why they're so strong is that they always have a good attitude.
No.
Nice!
Yep.
Last one hit!
Nice.
And always good vibes in the call. Even when they're losing, they're still having fun.
Tower? TNT.
That's my bad.
Nice.
Nice try.
Nice try.
Okay, we don't win pistols.
Yeah, we don't. It's fine.
And looking for ways to come back from that loss.
There are a lot of strengths that I can begin to say about Carleton's female team, and you know, that is like every other team that I've been able to coach, but namely it's the synergizing of the team that they've managed to do. They took synergy quite literally and managed as a team. Every player has contributed their own method of being encouraging to the other players of their team, and they seem to actually have a good relationship with each other outside of the game, which I find one of the very huge aspects that are going to be important with the team, to be able to communicate well during their games. And I think that's going to be something that they can really use to their advantage, and they do as well.